I haven't made any videos in a while now, and it's been a few months. The reason for that is that I just moved across the country. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona now, and moving 1,900 miles and having a new job and a new apartment and things is kind of taking a lot of energy and a lot of time, and I haven't had a whole lot of time for chess. I have been playing quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, and I finally had a game that I thought was worth your time watching and my time to make a video, so I thought I'd put it up. I'm white here, and I led with d4 as always. And we end up in a Semi-Slav, which I've been studying as black, and I'm glad I got to run into it as white because it's going to be a really instructive game for me to think about my black system. My style in the Semi-Slav is going to be to probably have this bishop out before I close up with e6, but it may not always happen that way. It's good to know the lines. So here we go. e3 is natural, defends the middle, opens up a defense on that pawn from the bishop here. And I don't like this bishop move. It kind of hems in his knight here. You're gonna notice that one of the themes of this game is that black has trouble with development, and I use a development lead and gain time and use that to create some tactics in the middle, particularly with my pawns that prove to be decisive materially. So I develop naturally. This I don't like as well because what I'm going to try and do here, and it actually works, is I'm going to try and pin that knight to his bishop, and if he moves the knight, then we trade there on f8, and it ruins his opportunity to castle, which slows him down. And b3 here I liked because it defends this pawn with another pawn, and it opens up my diagonal to get this bishop out since it's hemmed in here because of e3. So I'm going to get my my queen's bishop out better than he does. So here we go. I pin that knight. It's not a true pin. He can always move it, of course, but what he gives up when he does move it is time. I decided to take back with the pawn here instead of the bishop. I like this strong pawn center, and I didn't want to have it broken up without a pawn on the C rank, or the C file. That's a bit slow, but it's not a terribly bad move. What he's looking at doing here is eventually playing C5, and so we'll see how that works out. So here he moves the knight, and I go ahead and take there and ruin his opportunity to castle. This is going to slow him down tremendously. I actually pick up 3 tempi here, which is great for me. No reason not to castle myself, almost just to flaunt the fact that he can't and I can, if nothing else. And then I'm going to harass his knight here, and I'm going to make it bounce back and forth. And I just got 2 free squares out of that pawn. So the time that I lost playing e3 and then e4, I pick it back up double here by making him move back and forth. And then I go ahead and move my bishop out to put some pressure on that knight. Probably g4 would have been good at any point here as well. That's okay. So now you see he has to untangle, he moves his rook out, and he's going to start moving his king back into that corner. He's losing time here over and over. I like this bishop move. I was afraid of him playing c5 like I mentioned before, and I used this bishop move. My bishop's been moving 1 square at a time pretty slow here, but I like this move because now if he plays c5 I can win that rook. So here's only square for this knight. He's got to get developed somehow as a6, and I cut off b4 here so that he can't take b4. And that leaves that knight just looking silly out on the rim. Another king move here to move his king even further away from the center. I think he was afraid of... I'm not sure what he's afraid of, but he decides to go ahead and move that. Now, there's tactics here. I could have played g4, and I'll go through that quickly. I got to move fast. I know I have 10 minutes on YouTube. Tactics here where after he moves his knight away, I can win a pawn and then trade material there. And this is good for white, obviously. I just played more natural. I played a rook move out here. I don't like to move the pawns in front of my king if I can avoid it. And I thought E1 was a good square for this rook. It gives it mobility and flexibility. I can lift it if I need to, since you can see everything's kind of pointing at his king side. My diagonals here. My pawns are pointing that way. I might start a pawn storm later. I like this rook to have the opportunity to get out in front of my pawns if I need to for tactical reasons. So here we go. He played c5 anyways, and that just lets me take an exchange. There's a few tactics here that the computer found that are complicated in my mind. The computer says d5 is good, and at which point maybe a queen trade, and you can see I've won my material anyways. But I don't really like the super complicated nature of that. I'll take my material when I can get it, and I feel good about my ability to maintain my material lead when I have it. So simple enough. Take the rook. And then play d5. d5 is obviously a good move. I looked at it, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to take the material I had when I had it. So you can see here a real strong pawn center. My idea here now is to play e6, and if we trade on that square, he's going to end up losing that bishop. My rook's going to come up and take it there, and then this knight's going to be hanging as well. I had huge opportunities to win some material up here when I get it. My opponent had a big threat here, though. You can see if let's add a variation here. If I take there, and he takes back there, my knight's now pinned to my queen. I can't hop my knight out of the way, and I'm going to lose some material. And this is no good for me. Options for me are probably queen to d3, and after he takes, I suppose I can take the knight here, but I don't like this huge passed pawn that he has here. I didn't feel good about this, and so I didn't take on that with that knight there. Instead, what I did, I just moved my queen to d3 here. I think I played this perfectly. He threatens my queen, and you can see this knight's hanging, so I go ahead and take it. And now you can see, obviously, that I left the defense of this square, which I couldn't have done anyways because of the bishop, by taking that knight, and it leaves him the opportunity to fork my rooks. Now, I get 3 points here. In exchange is only 2 points. I'm still better off giving up in exchange, but there's even better tactics in play. One is d5 here. I'm not going to try and move one. I'm obviously going to lose one of the rooks, so there's no point in trying to move one and wasting a move. I might as well be aggressive, and I have these passed pawns here I got to push. So threaten his queen, and then hop my knight in here to d5. It's a great square for my knight. It can't be threatened, and there's tactics all over the board. So he takes here. The computer says I can take back first, and then here let's show that one quickly. This is not what I played. Fork his bishop and his king here, and trade there, and then penetrate with my queen. I have these awesome passed pawns. We get a rook behind them. I feel really good about this game. Obviously the best move. What I did instead was I played a fork on the queen and the rook. If he takes back with a pawn, which he does, then then I can win this rook, and he's got a block, or else be checkmated. Force the material trade here. This is what actually happened, and then I'm left here with an extra rook and a pawn, and this is just a runaway lead for white. There's no way I can lose this. Now this actually failed for tactical reasons, but I didn't find that out until later. So here I'll show you what he could have done. He could have played queen to c6, which pins this knight to my queen. I can't just take the rook here, obviously, because my queen's hanging. So what I have to do in this situation is retreat here, and then we'll trade queens here, at which point he can try to get this. He can get this knight out, and you can see that in this position I'm only up a pawn, and that's not as good as what I could have had there, a whole piece. So that I'm lucky he didn't see that. He played a6, and then we did that trading sequence I showed you. At this point, there's a runaway. The easy way to finish. You just run that pawn down the board. He's got to trade, or else I'm going to queen, and then just start trading off pawns, trade off material, and then finally a check on c7 here, and his pawns are going to fall. He can't stop me from taking this pawn. He can't stop me from queening one of my own, and my opponent resigned at this point. So anyways, this was a super fun game, and in particular, the pawn motions here, starting here, just the way the pawns worked, and then all the tactics and the forks that I just ignore, and I got to play real aggressively, which is not generally my style, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you keep an eye on my channel. I'll try and put some more videos up. If you haven't watched my other videos, go ahead and flip through and watch a lot of them. There's a lot of good games there, especially in the card com that you might enjoy.